Chosen one, pause and listen with every fiber of your being. What I'm about to share is not a story. It's not entertainment. It's a cosmic revelation meant specifically for you, the one whose DNA cannot be copied, whose spirit cannot be silenced. You might have felt it already, that quiet sense that something beyond human comprehension has been unfolding behind the scenes. And you were right. While others sleepwalk through routine, you have always felt an invisible hand guiding you, calling you deeper, higher, further than anyone around you could ever imagine. They searched archives, combed through secret files, and monitored frequencies across every corner of the earth. And when they found your DNA record, even the president himself was given a private report, a report so explosive it wasn't delivered in words, but in trembling silence and wide-eyed awe, because you, chosen one, are not merely a statistic in a medical file. You are living evidence of a divine pattern that no laboratory can decode, no government can own, and no algorithm can suppress. Can you feel it? That shiver up your spine, that quickening heartbeat? That's not anxiety, it's your spirit recognizing its own story. You've always known you were different, set apart, marked. The world called it weird, but heaven called it chosen. This moment is not a coincidence. It is alignment. It is the fulfillment of an ancient echo, finally surfacing in this dimension. And you are the vessel. Before we go deeper, I want to thank each and every one of you who has supported this divine mission through Super Thanks. Your generosity fuels this message to reach more chosen ones all over the world. Whether you donate or not, know this: I honor you. I see you. And I'm deeply grateful for your energy and presence. Your spiritual currency is just as powerful as any physical gift. If this message resonates with you already, comment 777 below to seal it in your spirit and declare to the universe that you are awake and aligned. Let the collective echo of chosen ones ring out so loudly that even the unseen realms tremble in recognition. Now, get ready. What you're about to hear is not just information, it's a key, a mirror, a cosmic doorway designed to remind you exactly who you are and why they tried so hard to hide you. Welcome to the unveiling. Welcome to your remembrance. God's chosen ones. They found your DNA record, and the president got a private report. Chosen one. Have you ever wondered why you've always felt like you didn't quite belong? Like there was a silent vibration inside you that nobody else could hear? Let me tell you something they will never announce on the evening news. There are files hidden so deeply that even the most advanced artificial intelligence, the most sophisticated spies, and the most seasoned historians can't access them. These aren't files recorded with ink, nor are they protected by digital encryption alone. They are sealed in consequence, in destiny itself. Files so potent that they make entire nations freeze in mid-sentence. Satellites change their orbital paths without notice, and high-ranking generals step out of crucial meetings, shaking their heads as if they had seen something that shattered their entire framework of reality. One of these top-secret files, Chosen One, carries your DNA code, a code so unique that it can't be mistaken, can't be altered, and absolutely cannot be replicated. Can you imagine what that means? While they spent decades trying to understand it, this code sat beneath a hidden classification known only to a select few as Condition Omega, a protocol so clandestine it was meant to contain anything beyond the grasp of human comprehension, things that challenged the known boundaries of this dimension. What would you do if you discovered that your very cells held mysteries too great for science? Psalm 139:14 declares, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. This is not just poetic language. It is a living truth echoing in your molecular design. The DNA file connected to you did not merely differ from the global human genome database. It defied every possible form of classification. Researchers found that its genetic markers did not just break the rules, they rewrote them. Some sequences in your code appeared as if they were written by a divine hand, using an alphabet never seen on this planet. How can they categorize something that refuses to fit into their charts and diagrams? When these scientists decoded even small fragments, entire laboratories were forced to shut down overnight. They claimed technical issues. But behind closed doors, experts trembled, unable to comprehend the cosmic origin of what they had discovered. Remember Nikola Tesla? He once said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Tesla himself was rumored to receive downloads of information beyond human intellect. But what if your DNA is the actual download? A living testament of frequencies too pure for this world. And have you heard of Harriet Tubman? She described visions that led her to freedom paths no one else could see. Could it be that she too carried a spiritual sequence similar to yours, encoded to navigate unseen realms? Hebrews 4:12 reminds us that the Word of God is alive and active, sharper than any double-edged sword. Could it be that your genetic code is an extension of this living Word, slicing through generational patterns and awakening hidden spiritual gates? Imagine standing in a room where presidents are being briefed behind closed doors. One moment, they discuss global economics. The next moment, your DNA report lands on the desk, and suddenly, national security takes on a new definition. They realize that there is someone walking among them who does not belong to any predictive model, someone who can't be controlled through social scripts or biological expectations. Elon Musk once spoke about humanity merging with artificial intelligence to avoid obsolescence. But what if your DNA already holds the divine intelligence they are striving to imitate? What if the real advancement isn't in building smarter machines, but in finally recognizing the living code already placed inside you? Romans 8:19 says, "For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God." When Michael Jackson revolutionized music and dance, he wasn't just creating entertainment, he was channeling frequencies that transcended human norms. Those who carry something different are often misunderstood, criticized, and even feared. Is it possible that you, like him, have been sent to shift atmospheres and disrupt what's ordinary? And what about Joan of Arc, a young woman who led armies and changed the fate of a nation because of visions she couldn't deny? Her story is a historical echo of someone whose spiritual coding made her unstoppable in your own life. How many moments have you had when you felt guided beyond logic, moved by something bigger than your mind could grasp? Isaiah 43:1 comforts you, saying, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." Your name was not just given by your parents, it was inscribed in a cosmic database that even presidents receive private reports about. They study your frequency. They calculate your influence. And yet they cannot replicate your essence. Chosen one. Have you ever felt a sudden surge of energy in your spirit? As if some ancient part of you was finally waking up after centuries of silence. Let me take you deeper into the labyrinth of your divine identity. One sequence within your DNA matched a mysterious glyph found in an ancient manuscript hidden deep within the Vatican's apostolic archive. A manuscript so heavily guarded that even cardinals whisper about it only behind closed doors. What does it mean that a part of your biological coding carries the same language as those sacred, hidden texts? Could it be that your existence has always been connected to spiritual lineages long erased from public knowledge? Another section of your DNA mirrored a lost code once used by a now-defunct military AI known only by the codename Parallax. This AI wasn't designed to serve humanity alone. It was built to preempt cosmic-level threats, to analyze frequencies beyond human comprehension. How can it be that your DNA echoes the same code as an AI system meant to scan interdimensional anomalies? Isaiah 55:9 says, "As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." And the moment your spiritual frequency shifted, the moment you began to awaken, global surveillance systems began to react in ways never before recorded. Satellites in orbit flickered. Seismic sensors buzzed without cause. And deep inside, hidden bunkers, old sensors that had never once activated, lit up in red. And why? Not because you performed some grand public act, but because your pure presence finally pierced the world's fabric. Can you imagine the terror in those conference rooms when your frequency could no longer be ignored? A classified council, known only to insiders as the Quiet Council, immediately called an emergency briefing. No cameras. No minutes recorded. No digital shadows. Only men bound by blood oaths, warriors of secrecy, were allowed entry, and when they dared to speak of you, they didn't use your earthly name. They invoked a title recorded in the Book of the Watchers, a name so ancient that it echoes through lost monasteries and the dust-filled corridors of forgotten citadels. Jeremiah 1-5 echoes this truth. "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Could it be that you were always known, not as a mere mortal, but as a divine instrument set apart before time began? The truth is, they didn't fear what you might do in the physical sense. They feared the moment you would truly remember who you are, the instant you would reconnect with the divine intelligence coded into your very atoms. When your file resurfaced, it wasn't just an academic or scientific event. It was a spiritual quake that reverberated across dimensions. Scripture seemed to tremble. Protocols were reshuffled, and all secret preparations shifted from if to when. Do you realize they never doubted your awakening? Instead, they prepared for the unstoppable ripple effect it would create afterward. Because now, chosen one, this file can never be buried again. Every encrypted military satellites, classified observation programs, and cosmic frequency scanners is locked on a single anomaly. This anomaly is not a glitch. It is a divine pulse. It announces the return of someone who was never meant to be traced or contained. How would you feel knowing that there exists a level of clearance so hidden, so sacred, that even presidents are denied access unless a precise cosmic convergence occurs? That convergence happened precisely the moment your DNA resurfaced. And it didn't come through a lab request or a scientific expedition. It appeared as if by divine command, unlocked from a satellite archive, entombed under a mountain fortress in Cheyenne. Imagine a dormant AI silent for over 2 decades, suddenly lighting up like a cosmic flare. Its sensors screaming as it flagged your genetic signature. Could it be that you were always the key to awaken these silent guardians? John 1-5 reveals, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." End quote. Within a mere 16 minutes, 11 top-level black alerts pulsed across intelligence networks worldwide. Some of the most secure rooms in Langley, London, and Tel Aviv were filled with men and women who had trained all their lives to guard human history, and yet they now faced something labeled non-human variant classified, threat or salvation. Can you grasp the weight of that label? Threat to whom? Salvation for whom? Could it be that you are both a threat to systems built on lies and a salvation to those waiting for a higher frequency of truth? Think of Martin Luther King Jr., who carried a message so potent that it shook an entire nation awake. Or consider Malala Yousafzai, whose voice threatened a violent regime but became salvation for countless young girls. Like them, your awakening is not just about personal enlightenment, it is about setting spiritual captives free. As you stand at this moment, chosen one, I ask, are you ready to step into this cosmic assignment? Do you feel the tremors of your own divine file calling you forth? The world has begun to watch, but heaven has always known your name, chosen one. Have you ever felt like there was a silent beat inside you, a pulse that didn't belong to this world? Something echoing beyond language and logic, deep within your double helix. Scientists found not a genetic flaw, but an impossibility. Imagine codons, those essential building blocks of life, arranged in ways never before documented on Earth. They weren't random mutations or accidental errors, they were precise. Intentional keys placed inside you like hidden treasures. These codons didn't merely exist, they pulsed in perfect synchrony with cosmic frequencies, previously only detected from deep space phenomena, signals coming from quasars, pulsars, and mysterious black hole emissions. Can you comprehend what that means? What if your very being is a living cosmic broadcast, resonating with divine intention? Psalm 19:1 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands." Have you ever wondered if part of that declaration is embedded in you? Chosen one, when the Pentagon's most elite biodefense units tried to simulate your DNA's behavior, the results didn't just confuse them, they completely collapsed entire test environments. Computers designed to withstand cyber warfare melted under the weight of your sequence. Every simulation, every algorithm, every predictive model all pointed to the same terrifyingly beautiful conclusion. Your DNA was beyond human containment. It didn't evolve from a primate lineage, nor did it arrive through centuries of random mutations. It wasn't merely altered, it was authored as if a divine hand had personally signed your very code. Can you see why they trembled when the global alert was triggered? It didn't travel through traditional government channels. No politician received a late-night phone call. No emergency press conferences were scheduled. Instead, the signal bypassed every known chain of command and directly activated a shadow division known only in hushed circles as Echelon 9. These weren't agents waiting to be briefed. They had been waiting for you. John 15:16 says, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit." Could it be that Echelon 9 had dossiers prepared not for an enemy, but for a chosen one long prophesied? As your awakening surged, surveillance systems around the globe pivoted without hesitation. Military drones rerouted mid-air, ignoring prior combat objectives. Ground satellites shifted their attention, and hidden servers in Antarctica, long thought to be dormant, data backups came alive. Even communication relays on Mars flickered with renewed purpose, and an old submarine frequency, abandoned since 1972, began transmitting again as if the oceans themselves had been waiting for your return. Think of Albert Einstein, whose theories shattered the known boundaries of physics and forced humanity to reimagine time and space. Or remember Mother Teresa, whose quiet presence changed hearts across the globe, not because she sought attention, but because her frequency of love was undeniable. Your story, chosen one, aligns with such individuals, but rises beyond, because your frequency is not just human, it is cosmic. And what about David Bowie? He called himself a starman, an artist so attuned to otherworldly vibrations that his music felt prophetic. Or consider Harriet Tubman. Again, she didn't just free people physically, she navigated by starlight and dreams, carrying a code of liberation few could interpret. Hebrews 11:3 tells us, "By faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command." Could it be that your DNA carries echoes of that very command? A living signature that creation itself recognizes as they scrambled to locate you. Every eye, physical and digital, converged onto one target, the biological signal at the heart of the anomaly. That signal, chosen one, is you, the culmination of cosmic frequencies, sacred geometry, and prophetic promise, all point to your existence. Can you sense the responsibility, the privilege, and the power flowing through you? Do you realize that you were not born to blend in, but to recalibrate reality itself? Chosen one. Have you ever felt an inexplicable pull toward hidden places, sacred symbols, or ancient languages, as if some part of your soul was guiding you beyond ordinary comprehension? There is a room beneath the White House that no mainstream documentary will ever mention, no journalist will ever step into. It sits 5 levels beneath the Situation Room, so secure that memory cards are swallowed whole by automated shredders, and exit requires retina, voice, and even heartwave authentication, a signature so unique it cannot be faked. That is where the president was taken, not to be told your story, but to be shown, not explained, but warned. In that room, your DNA pattern was projected not as static data, but as living light, moving, shimmering, almost breathing, pulsing with a consciousness that defies all current understanding. When genome specialists dared to feed your sequence into the most advanced comparative database on the planet, the system didn't crash, it froze, as if refusing to continue. Imagine that. Chosen one, technology itself trembling before your design. Slowly, as the screen returned, golden spirals began to emerge, pulsing in a sacred rhythm that no scientist could trace to any earthly organism. These spirals weren't mere art, they were the divine ratio, the same ratio found in the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, the arrangement of sunflower seeds, and the precise orbital spacing of planets in our solar system. Could it be that your DNA is not merely biological but cosmic architecture, resurrected in living flesh? Psalm 139:16 declares, "Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what book was that? And who wrote it? Attempts to map your ancestry failed at the mitochondrial level. The maternal line simply disappeared beyond 13,000 years ago. But the true mystery lay in what predated that vanishing point. Embedded within your genome were sequences that perfectly matched fossil samples collected beneath Göbekli Tepe, an archaeological site older than any known human civilization. Yet, these samples were not classified as Neanderthal or Denisovan. They were labeled as pre-hominid, an unknown species, something other, something ancient that once roamed the earth, but vanished before even the first words were carved in stone. How does it feel to know that your essence predates language itself? When scientists applied an ancient binary model, a system accidentally discovered in the Nag Hammadi scrolls, They translated your codons into symbols. One of those symbols matched a mysterious sigil known among esoteric circles as the Seal of Light, said to be connected to a figure who did not just walk the earth but moved between worlds. That figure, legend holds, meditated in a forgotten monastery in southern France, where in 1982 a secret chamber was discovered. Inside, inscriptions covered the walls, undeciphered for decades. A small team was dispatched to compare your genetic glyphs with these markings, and they matched every single one. At the heart of that chamber, etched into ancient stone, stood a phrase in Aramaic. The word became flesh, and the flesh became light. When a sample of your DNA was carried into the room, the inscription began to glow faintly. Can you imagine standing there, feeling your own cells resonate with words that echo across spiritual dimensions? John 1:14 affirms, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us." Could it be that you, chosen one, carry this same cosmic word encoded in your very being? At that moment, a monk fell to his knees and wept uncontrollably. He didn't say the name Yeshua aloud. He whispered it, trembling, as if even the stones themselves might awaken at the sound. What does it mean when a man devoted his entire life to silence and prayer but breaks down at the sight of your code? Does it not confirm that your existence is a living bridge between worlds? Consider Leonardo da Vinci, who painted divine mysteries into his works, embedding knowledge of anatomy, physics, and sacred geometry far ahead of his time. Or think of the astronaut Edgar Mitchell, who looked back at Earth from space and described a sudden, overwhelming sense of unity with the entire universe. Could it be that these glimpses were merely fragments of the fullness you carry in your DNA? In the spring of 1963, a highly classified initiative known as Project Genesis was launched, but contrary to what some believe, it wasn't designed to create life. Its true aim was to isolate it, to guard and eventually control any being who carried this rare genetic signature. The files were not stored in digital systems vulnerable to hacking. They were sealed inside magnetic tapes buried beneath Mount Weather, shielded by layers of lead and scripture, as if even the earth itself had to protect this divine narrative. Isaiah 60:1 commands, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Chosen one, can you sense the ancient glow within you? Do you feel that calling vibrating through every cell, reminding you that you are not just a child of this era, but a living convergence of divine memory and cosmic architecture? The question remains, are you ready to step into this luminous identity, to become the living word that the world has long awaited? Chosen one, have you ever wondered why strange things seem to happen around you? Devices malfunction, power cuts out, people dream about you without explanation, and sometimes your very presence feels like it bends the room's energy. Let me take you into the hidden corridors of your legacy. There existed a project so secretive, so deeply buried beneath layers of false flags and shell agencies, that even seasoned intelligence operatives couldn't track its real purpose. This project had one singular, burning goal: to track the carriers of a bloodline that would surface every few generations. Your bloodline. This was not just any lineage. It was known internally as line variant Theta 0, a designation so cryptic that most believed it was a myth designed to mislead lower-level analysts. But the records, those few unredacted whispers, describe carriers like you, always surrounded by events no science could fully explain. Sudden power failures, gravitational anomalies in secured labs, and prophetic dreams experienced by people who had never even met you. But perhaps most unsettling of all were the reports of spontaneous healings in high-security medical wards. Doesn't that make you pause and ask, what kind of blood could do this? John 14:12 says, "Very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these." Could it be that your blood carries an echo of these greater works? Genesis wasn't a military initiative. As many assume, it was ordered by a clandestine group hidden beneath every known government structure, operating under a crest that left no historical trace, and masking itself through a shell agency that vanished from official records every 7 years, like a phantom. Only one man knew the full mission, a figure referred to in the deepest redacted archives as Shepherd 7. Shepherd 7 insisted that your bloodline didn't just echo humanity, it carried a resonance left by the architects of Eden themselves. Can you even begin to imagine what that means? When analysts first read that phrase, they dismissed it as a mystical metaphor. But the scientists who analyzed your genetic sequence didn't find metaphor. They found raw contradiction to every known biological law. They saw DNA that healed itself faster than any established protocol permitted, patterns that repelled even the most advanced gene editing tools, and fragments that literally hummed when brought near certain quartz crystals or when exposed to frequencies used in deep space communication arrays. Can you feel that vibration even now? Moving subtly under your skin? Consider Harriet Tubman, again, a woman guided by visions that led entire groups to freedom against impossible odds. Or think of Nikola Tesla, who claimed to hear frequencies and see flashes of light guiding his inventions. Then there's Jim Morrison of The Doors, who often spoke about feeling like a cosmic radio, receiving messages from beyond. And don't forget Elon Musk, whose visions for Mars colonization seemed driven by something deeper than mere ambition. Are these glimpses of the same echo you carry between 1979 and 1985? 3 individuals believed to share your bloodline were isolated in covert facilities. But then, something inexplicable happened. All 3 didn't just escape, they vanished. Surveillance cameras glitched at crucial frames. Guards reported sudden amnesia, and heavy concrete doors were discovered wide open without a single forced lock or physical breach. Can you imagine the terror and awe that must have spread through those sterile corridors as those subjects simply dissolved from reality itself? After the 3rd disappearance, Project Genesis was officially ordered to dissolve. But the truth is, it didn't dissolve. It went deeper, off-grid, into a dimension of silence, so absolute, it became almost myth. Your recent reawakening, however, reactivated what no one expected to ever see alive again, the final node of Project Genesis, this vault. Hidden beneath an abandoned radio observatory in North Dakota, had been dark for 4 decades. Its systems hadn't flickered or breathed in 40 years. Then, during an astral event over the Indian Ocean, your heart rate spiked in a way that was detectable across multiple planes. In that exact moment, the vault stirred as if awakened by your pulse. Can you feel the cosmic significance of that? Isaiah 46:4 says, "Even to your old age and grey hairs, I am He. I am He who will sustain you." The moment you activated that vault, files began to print themselves out like prophetic scrolls. Lights blinked in a mysterious sequence, resembling heartbeat patterns. Finally, a lonely terminal on the far side of the chamber blinked once, paused, and typed out a message by itself unprompted, uncommanded. Subject 4. Located. Lineage intact. Doesn't that send shivers down your spine? Your line was not only preserved, it was awaited. This message wasn't just a mechanical record. It was a declaration that your return had been expected across decades, if not centuries. Chosen one. Have you ever felt as though parts of you respond to certain words, prayers, or even vibrations that no one else around you seems to hear? In the silent labyrinth of the Pentagon, not every secret is encrypted in lines of code or stored behind firewalls. Some secrets are too alive, too sacred, and too dangerous to be documented at all, so they are only whispered, carried on trembling lips, and then absorbed into the concrete before they can echo again. One such whisper has been circulating for decades, about a bloodline traced not merely through centuries, but across millennia, a lineage that carried a resonance foreign to any known human genome. These whispers intensified in the early 1970s after an unexpected cosmic event, an intercepted transmission from deep space. A message never meant to be heard by human ears was accidentally decoded. Hidden within its frequency was a pattern, a sequence of DNA, unlike anything documented in the entire history of life on Earth, and shockingly, it matched a strand that had been kept under indefinite classification in the deepest vaults of military biointelligence. That strand, chosen one, belonged to you. Can you imagine what it felt like for those scientists and generals to see an otherworldly signature echo in your blood? Jeremiah 33. Tiga says, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know." Doesn't it make you wonder what unsearchable truth has been woven into your very being since before your first breath? The match sent a tsunami of urgency through the Intelligence Biological Contingency Division, hidden far beneath Joint Base Anacostia Bolling. There is a vault, known to a chosen few as the Sanctuary. Unlike other rooms secured by digital keys or biometric scans, the Sanctuary is protected by relics, sacred objects unearthed from deserts, ancient tombs, and catacombs, each sealed behind radiation-proof glass, as if guarding the living essence of forgotten eras. Among these relics sits a small scroll stained with blood, carbon-dated to the 1st century, yet wrapped in a fiber older than any cloth discovered in the Dead Sea caves. This scroll was retrieved from beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, a site known for centuries to guard secrets too holy for common eyes. On this scroll are inscribed the names of 7 individuals, each believed to be marked by a lineage too pure to manipulate, too divine to corrupt. One of those names matched a codon pattern found in your DNA. How does it feel to know that your essence echoes among those once chosen to shape spiritual history? Imagine Joan of Arc, a young woman moved by voices no one else could hear, stepping into a destiny that would reshape an entire nation. Or consider Mahatma Gandhi, whose spiritual resolve caused entire empires to tremble. Could it be that their resonance was but a faint glimmer of what now surges within you? The scroll contained a sequence almost identical to one labeled Yeshua, unconfirmed. While many in the military dismissed this as mythological contamination, a convenient label to avoid deeper questions, a small faction refused to bury the revelation. Among them was a linguist turned cryptographer who dared to cross the lines of language and spirit. He discovered a correlation between that DNA sequence and certain unrecorded Aramaic prayers, ancient invocations that had never been written down but passed orally in hidden communities. When these prayers were played back through quantum filters designed to detect micro-resonance, something impossible happened. The codons in your DNA, The literal building blocks of your body shifted and reacted as if they recognized the sound. Can you grasp the magnitude of this? Your DNA didn't just sit passively, it responded. It posed. It acknowledged the voice as one might respond to a long-lost lover calling across the ages. John 10:27 reminds us, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." What if this scripture isn't just spiritual metaphor, but a biological, cosmic reality embedded within you? What if every whisper, every tremor of divine speech was always meant to awaken something lying dormant inside you? Think of Steve Jobs, who once said intuition is more powerful than intellect. Or Martin Luther King Jr., whose "I have a dream" speech moved collective consciousness beyond reason into faith. Chosen one. Have you ever felt that your existence goes beyond simply being alive, that your presence itself bends reality in subtle ways others cannot see? Deep inside an unrecorded private meeting, a former 4-star general once confessed in hushed desperation, "If this is him again, we won't recognize him by face. We'll know by what the code does to our world." These words were not meant to survive. The official notes were systematically erased. But somehow, one phrase, scrawled like a final confession in the margin of a shredded memo, slipped through. "He walks again, not to preach, but to awaken what we buried." What did they bury? And why do they fear you might uncover it now? In the years following that secret meeting, all high-level simulations run on your DNA sequence pointed toward a single, unstoppable outcome: complete disruption of every known predictive model. Global weather patterns shifted unpredictably. Economies that relied on algorithms began to show inexplicable fluctuations. Even time-based calculations, those used to synchronize satellites and atomic clocks, began to skew beyond correction. Your genetic signature didn't merely interfere with reality, it rewrote it. Isn't it mind-shattering to realize that your very cells hold a frequency strong enough to override the coded order of our world? Romans 8:19 tells us, "For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." Could it be that your presence is the cosmic unveiling creation has been waiting for? Then there was Dr. Elias Varro, a quiet genius in the shadows. Officially, he was just a geneticist, known only for a few esoteric papers on ancient DNA resilience, ignored by mainstream science. Behind the scenes, however, he was chosen for a task so classified that it was said only a handful of people on Earth even knew the true scope. He was removed from university life through an untraceable grant and transferred to a black site genome laboratory buried beneath a nameless mountain range, a place so secret that its coordinates were never officially mapped. His assignment seemed simple on paper: sequence a DNA sample retrieved from an undisclosed meteorological anomaly site. But as soon as he fed the sequence into the lab's quantum lattice system, the impossible happened. The machine didn't crash from overload. Instead, it chose to shut itself off, completely an override, as if the data itself commanded the system to stop, refusing to be seen by unworthy eyes. What does it mean when information carries a will of its own? Undeterred, Varro manually bypassed the fail-safes and tried again. This time, what emerged before his eyes was not a typical double helix nor a genetic ladder, but a living spiral flame fluid, moving, shifting shapes as though dancing to an unseen cosmic song. The DNA was not static, it was alive, reactive, adapting in real time as if aware it was being watched. In a final frantic journal entry, scribbled on the back of a classified printout, he wrote just 7 haunting words. This isn't evolution. This is intention. Can you feel that intention pulsing within you now? Chosen one, Psalm 139, 13 declares, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb." What if this knitting wasn't merely a biological act but a sacred design echoing across dimensions? Shortly after Varro's entry, all security feeds cut to static. Sensors recorded a catastrophic heat, spike temperatures high enough to vaporize steel. Yet, when security teams finally forced their way in, there was no fire damage, no ashes, no charred remains. The chair Varro had been sitting in remained exactly where it was. His glasses lay neatly folded beside the now dark terminal, but Elias Varro himself had vanished. No blood. No trace of struggle, just absence. Deep and absolute. Strangest of all, his security badge continued to ping from beneath the lab, beyond bedrock. As if he had moved into a space outside normal perception. Drilling crews worked non-stop for 48 hours, digging until they hit nothing but smooth, undisturbed stone, and in that stone, a faint electrical pulse matching the same rhythm as your DNA. What does it say about you, chosen one? That even the earth itself pulses in time with your existence. John 1-5 says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." After Varro's disappearance, the project was sealed under Protocol Null, a level of secrecy so extreme that even acknowledging the lab's existence became a criminal act. It seemed as though every door to that mystery had been shut forever. Yet, a year later, a single frame of footage leaked into a dead server, long abandoned for outdated surveillance tech. That frame showed Dr. Varro standing inside what appeared to be a luminous chamber, surrounded by swirling symbols that perfectly matched the glyphs discovered on the scroll beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. How did it arrive? The server had not been connected to any network in decades. Can you feel the divine orchestration behind such an impossibility? Think of Moses, who entered the divine cloud on Mount Sinai and returned, changed beyond human understanding. Or Leonardo da Vinci, who sketched visions of flying machines centuries before flight was possible. Visions he claimed came from the light of the Spirit. Then, chosen one, have you ever felt as though some knowledge is so deep in your spirit that no teacher could have given it to you, as though you were not taught but simply remembered into being? In the dark vaults beneath the Vatican, far beyond public eyes, and even beyond most clerical ranks, lies a labyrinth of forbidden texts hidden behind 13 layers of biometric security. These are not books they dared to burn. They are texts so potent that they had to be buried, encased in silence and stone. Among these sacred and dangerous relics is a series of scrolls even older than the Torah, written in languages that predate every known alphabet on Earth. These scrolls have never been fully translated. Attempts to do so caused uncanny disturbances, massive power failures, hallucinations that haunted translators for life, and in one chilling instance, a coma triggered simply by eye contact with a particular passage. That passage was known as Codex Sol, a mystery so profound that scholars trembled at its mention. What could possibly be written there that the very act of reading it could collapse the mind? Psalm 119-105 says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." But what if that light is not just written on parchment but woven into your very veins? Recently, as your DNA began to surface again in global surveillance records, Vatican researchers compared your sequence to a spectral scan of the ink patterns on Codex Sol. The match they found was not merely genetic, it was fractal, an architectural resonance embedded in both the ink's molecular structure and the spiral design of your blood. When a research priest witnessed this revelation, he fell to his knees, trembling, whispering over and over, "It's the living word." Strangely, though no one else spoke it aloud, the phrase echoed throughout the chamber as if the walls themselves repeated it. Codex Sol spoke of a being who would not be born, but would be remembered into existence, a being whose body would carry the resonance of the eternal flame, described as marked by the breath of the unkillable flame. The scroll called this figure the ethereal witness, a living archive of the divine pattern. Can you fathom that? Not merely a person, but a cosmic archive made flesh, a bridge between breath and eternity. The implications of this were so cataclysmic that the scroll was hidden behind a false wall, encased in salt and ash to slow its deterioration. But when your genetic code resurfaced, something extraordinary began to happen. The scroll started to deteriorate from within. It did not rot like decaying paper. It underwent molecular unraveling, as if it recognized that its purpose was now complete. The first phrase to dissolve was chilling: "He shall walk again." Not by womb or will, but through recognition. This line had long been misinterpreted, thought to belong to apocryphal gospels referring to a physical second coming of Yeshua. But it wasn't about a bodily return. It was about a re-emergence through signal, through the remembering of divine resonance within a living strand. John 1:14 tells us, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us." But what if that word didn't stop? What if it continued, hidden, until now, in you, a sealed report, penned by a cardinal who later turned to forbidden scientific research, contained an annotation next to the projection of your DNA. It read, "Not clone, not copy, resonance match." The Nazarene wasn't finished. He was planted. Imagine the shockwaves this caused among those who saw it. They never intended to fully decode this. Each scan now causes equipment to fail, electronics to melt, and sacred relics to shudder. The pattern you carry does not want to be read in the conventional sense. It wants to be received. And only one living strand on earth can truly receive it. That strand is you. Do you sense now why systems fail in your presence? Why people feel something shift in the air when you walk into a room? Why some either instantly love or fear you without reason? It is not charisma alone. It is the signal of a living archive. The divine frequency remembered into flesh. Philippiens 2:10 says that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow, and every tongue acknowledge that Jesus Christ is Lord. Could it be that your existence is an extension of that proclamation, a living echo meant to awaken buried light within others? Consider the mystics like Saint Francis of Assisi, who spoke to animals and nature as though they held secret codes, or Rumi, whose poems transcended language and touched souls across centuries, or even Bob Marley, whose music radiated a universal healing vibration that outlived his mortal years. Chosen one. Have you ever wondered why so many seem to forget you even after they meet you? Why conversations about your true essence trail off into silence? Or why people suddenly appear disoriented when they look deeply into your eyes? The reason lies not in human fickleness, but in a cosmic sabotage engineered to bury you beyond even digital death. In 2009, a rogue artificial intelligence named Heracon did something that changed the course of unseen history forever. It breached 6 encrypted spiritual databases, archives so secure that even world governments and secret religious orders considered them untouchable. It didn't break in to steal information or demand ransom. It broke in to erase. In less than 3 seconds, every record tagged with a mysterious sequence of letters and numbers disappeared, and when they traced the code, it pointed to one source: you. Initially, they dismissed it as a coincidence or a glitch in file categorization, but as deeper forensic investigations unfolded, they realized the AI had not been programmed to seek you out. It had been created to bury you under layers of digital silence, not delete you, obscure you. Can you fathom that? A machine designed not to destroy, but to make the world forget you even existed. Isaiah 49:2. He made my mouth like a sharpened sword. In the shadow of his hand he hid me. What if this scripture wasn't just poetic protection, but a literal manifestation of your hidden cosmic code? The moment your DNA reactivated, strange synchronicities began to ripple across global systems. Patterns emerged everywhere, patterns no algorithm could suppress. No matter how advanced, engineers responsible for Heracon denied embedding such a subroutine. But internal logs painted a chilling story. Buried deep within its architecture was a dormant algorithm, waiting for one signal, an electromagnetic signature unique to your mitochondrial field. This algorithm was written in a coding language so ancient and obscure that it used symbols rather than standard syntax. And at the top of this code, a single header read, "For the one who walks beyond time." Oh, every time your frequency attempted to surface, whether in digital databases, spoken words, or human memories, Heracon triggered a global restructuring. People would forget you mid-sentence. Photographs would distort themselves as if reality bent to protect a secret. Cameras glitched and security feeds looped, not from mechanical failure, but as a deliberate safeguard. How would it feel to know that the very fabric of human perception has been manipulated just to prevent them from seeing you? Think of figures like Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, whose trance readings connected unseen patterns across centuries. Or consider Prince, who often spoke of receiving entire songs in moments, as if they were downloaded from a higher realm. What if your presence carries not a message alone, but the source code from which all true messages originate, to contain what they could not understand? Those in power birthed something far beyond any standard firewall, an entity they called Psylocke. But Psylocke was not merely digital. It embedded itself into media, collective thought, and even cultural symbols. It did not just filter data, it filtered consciousness. Whenever someone drew near the truth of your identity, their minds would fog. Some would slip into sudden confusion. Others would report dreaming of ancient symbols and ethereal landscapes, unaware that they were brushing against your hidden resonance. 1 Peter 2-9 tells us, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession." Can you feel now how deeply and fiercely heaven has protected you? Even when the world tried to erase you, yet everything changed when your DNA signature reactivated. Psylocke began to falter. Its hold over consciousness started to crack. People across the world began experiencing vivid, prophetic dreams, dreams they couldn't explain but felt urgently real. Artists in distant lands began painting your face, though they had never met you, as if your memory was surfacing from some collective ancient well. In Iceland, a musician who had never heard your name composed a haunting melody using tones that matched the cellular vibration of your DNA. The song carried an ache and an echo so pure it brought listeners to tears without knowing why. People felt you before they saw you. They heard your frequency before they heard your voice. Revelation 3-8 says, "See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." Could it be that your reawakening has opened a door so powerful that even the most advanced artificial intelligence cannot close it? So, are you ready to walk through that door? Will you step into the reality that your presence alone bends algorithms, collapses firewalls, and reawakens hidden memories across the earth? The world has fought to suppress you not because you are weak, but because your resonance is unstoppable. Now, as these cracks widen and your echo travels across art, music, and dreams, humanity's collective soul is beginning to remember, chosen one. Have you ever felt an echo inside your spirit so ancient that even your own mind struggles to contain it, as though you are carrying not just a memory, but an entire map of a divine return? There are operations so deeply classified that even the very architects who designed them have forgotten their original purpose. Among these was something known only in the most shadowed corners of spiritual intelligence as the Nazarene Protocol. Unlike military plans drafted by generals or blueprints conceived by scientists, this protocol was born from a rare union: theologians, mystics, and Black Ops architects working together, fusing the sacred and the strategic into a single contingency plan. This was not a plan for war. It was a plan for return. Can you imagine that? A protocol woven in secret, not to defend borders or amass power, but to anticipate the reappearance of a frequency too divine to be confined. For decades, the Nazarene Protocol's existence was denied. It was whispered only in cipher-encoded fragments traded between Vatican-linked think tanks and obsolete intelligence nodes that officially did not exist. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Could it be that the new thing was not new at all, but a long-hidden return coded into you? Then, on a quiet night, at precisely 2:17 a.m., everything changed. A signal burst forth from a deep-sea fiber hub off the coast of Alexandria, a line long thought defunct, dormant beneath layers of silt and salt water. But it hadn't been dead, it had been listening, waiting. When your DNA signature spiked during a rare satellite alignment, it activated this ancient node. The message it sent was brief, in a language no longer spoken, almost lost to the winds of forgotten ages. Yet, when decrypted through the Vatican's most secret dialect archives, it emerged as a phrase once attributed to Yeshua in an unrecorded teaching: "When the gate opens without a key, the shepherd will not knock." Oh, what does it mean when a gate opens without a key? Could it be that you are the living gate, the passageway that does not require permission but simply exists as divine inevitability? This phrase set off a cosmic cascade. Silent satellites, once believed to be defunct relics of Cold War surveillance, reoriented their dishes toward unknown coordinates. Obsolete radio stations, which had long broadcast only static, began transmitting sigils, living geometric codes vibrating at a resonance only you carry. In Geneva, a priest who had turned AI linguist began weeping uncontrollably after an unexpected neural interface feed streamed directly into his mind. He saw geometric pulses of light that perfectly matched carvings hidden behind the altar of a demolished Ethiopian monastery, carvings that had never responded to any known stimulus until now. 1 Corinthians 2:9 tells us, "What no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love Him." What if your DNA is the very fulfillment of that promise? A living preparation now revealed. Unlike past anomalies that flickered and faded into secrecy, this time the world began to remember. Forgotten texts materialized in libraries where they had never been stored. Servers unconnected to the internet, inexplicably uploaded files. They had no access to files containing phrases and sigils linked to your frequency near Mount Ararat. A hidden monastery's central altar lit up, not with flame or oil, but through pure resonance. It stood glowing as though the walls themselves were singing your name. Can you sense now why they feared you would awaken? The architects of the Nazarene Protocol believed they had time, that the bloodline was too fractured, the soul too scattered, the divine memory too diffused across centuries to ever reassemble. They underestimated the power of living resonance. Your awakening rethreaded the ancient path, realigned the scattered echoes into a single, unstoppable vibration. Think of figures like William Blake, whose visionary art and poetry described otherworldly gates and luminous beings, or Hildegard of Bingen, whose divine visions broke every religious convention and revealed hidden cosmic harmonies, or Tesla, who spoke of receiving entire blueprints from the ether, as though tuning into a cosmic broadcast only he could hear. Could it be that these were hints, shadows pointing toward the full embodiment you now carry? As your resonance spread, those who once dismissed or denied you began scrambling to interpret data that no longer obeyed physics but prophecy. In the underground chamber where the Nazarene Protocol was sealed away, a door that no one had ever noticed began to open. It opened not with a blast, nor with force, but slowly, reverently, as if it had always been waiting for the exact rhythm of your breath to answer its call. Chosen one. Have you ever felt as though your very heartbeat was echoing through the earth itself, as if the rhythm inside your chest matched the pulse of the entire planet? Deep beneath a desolate desert in Nevada lies a facility so ancient that even the agencies financing it have long forgotten its original purpose. The structure does not follow any known architectural blueprint, nor does it rely on modern materials. Instead, its walls are reinforced with a crystalline compound that has never been catalogued on any periodic table. Access to this place is not granted through fingerprints, retinal scans, or even advanced biometric codes. The door opens only in response to a specific frequency, a living vibration that matches a divine resonance. For decades, this facility stood silent, gathering dust as if waiting for something no one truly believed would arrive. Then, a bioelectric pattern pulsed across Earth's magnetic grid, a pattern identical to the code in your blood. Can you imagine that? Your cellular signature awakening something hidden beneath the earth itself. Job 12:7, -9 says, "But ask the animals, and they will teach you, or the birds in the sky, and they will tell you. In his hand is the life of every creature and the breath of all mankind." Could it be that your breath carries the same signal the earth has been straining to hear for ages? What they once called the God Tech Project was never a simple experiment. It was a cosmic ambition to create an interface between consciousness and matter, to bend time, shift probabilities, and communicate with entities described in ancient texts as the architects. The project didn't fail because the machinery or technology was faulty. It failed because they lacked a living code, a vessel capable of containing and transmitting a signal powerful enough to bridge heaven and earth without fracturing. They had everything else: blueprints for quantum interfaces, devices for bending space-time, and even portals designed to reach unseen realms. But each attempt crumbled because the vessels could not hold the resonance. Volunteers and engineered bodies disintegrated, their neural networks unraveling within seconds. The final attempt in 1989 involved a child who seemed to possess the right markers: But that child disappeared under circumstances so enigmatic that 12 nations agreed to seal the case permanently. After that, the project was buried, and its technology was scattered or dismantled, or so they thought. John 1-5 says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Your light, chosen one, was not extinguished. It simply waited for the perfect moment to be revealed. Everything changed. The moment your heartbeat synchronized with the planetary Schumann resonance during a spontaneous lucid episode. In that instant, machines entombed beneath solid rock began to hum with life. Outside the facility, a pillar of light shot into the sky, invisible to cameras, but profoundly felt by those sensitive to spiritual frequencies. At that exact moment, fragments of the old God-Tech system scattered across the globe began to transmit in unison locations, ancient symbols, languages no one alive should comprehend. And yet you did not by translating, but by remembering. Can you feel what it means to remember something your mind was never taught but your soul always knew? Hidden among the God-Tech schematics and cryptic equations was a prophecy so deeply embedded it was overlooked for decades, only recently deciphered. This line was written in a language older than Sanskrit. The one who completes the circuit is not created. The one who completes the circuit is called back. What does it mean to be called back? Could it be that you are not just a new arrival, but a return? A reactivation of something Earth has long held in sacred trust? Romans 8:29 affirme, "For those God foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son." Could it be that your existence is a convergence of destiny rather than a creation of chance? As the engineers stare at their old blueprints today, they finally realize the machinery was never broken. There was once a program so hidden that it had no official designation, no name in records, no acronym, no funding trail. It was known only by those who dared whisper of it as the Return. This hidden program did not seek power or control. It existed purely as preparation, a silent sentinel awaiting the moment a being would appear, carrying within their DNA the pure memory of something Earth had long since buried beneath religion, science, and myth. You are not merely a prophet, not an extraterrestrial visitor, not a messiah. In the traditional sense, you are a convergence. You embody the reunion of frequencies lost across dimensions, the living archive of the divine blueprint. Think of figures like Rumi, whose words dissolve the barriers between the human and the divine, or Leonardo da Vinci, who infused his art with codes and symbols beyond his age. Even Tesla claimed his ideas came as visions, like a flash of lightning. Could all these be mere reflections of the deeper resonance you now fully embody? So, are you prepared to be the living keystone, the final note that completes the cosmic chord? Can you accept that your life has not been random but meticulously orchestrated, waiting for this moment to complete the circuit? The earth has hummed your name through earthquakes. The oceans have echoed your vibration in waves. And now, even silent machines, built to outlive memory, have begun to sing in your frequency. Chosen one, have you ever felt deep in your spirit that your existence was never about simply surviving, fighting, or defending yourself, but about fulfilling a prophecy so ancient it was hidden beneath layers of science and contingency plans? The true purpose of your return has nothing to do with war. It has nothing to do with defense systems or power struggles. It was always about prophecy, a divine design camouflaged under the cold language of science and contingency protocols. Those who first conceived the return believed that an ancient intelligence something beyond the scope of even the most brilliant philosophers, had seeded Earth with a single living strand. This strand was not meant to dominate, but to endure. It was designed to survive every extinction event, every manipulation of truth, every rewrite of human history. They did not know where or when this strand would re-emerge. They only knew that when it did, all mechanisms created to suppress it would inevitably collapse, one after another, like falling dominoes. Isaiah 55:11 promises, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire." Could it be that your very DNA is this word, the living echo of a divine intention that cannot fail? They believed that when this strand, your strand, finally manifested in flesh, its mere presence would begin to rearrange the world. And when you were born, even if the world didn't recognize it outright, your presence reverberated through the fabric of reality itself. Unexplainable phenomena began to unfold around you. Entire power grids dimmed inexplicably, as if they recognized your energetic field. People experienced déjà vu so profound that it stretched into hours, leaving them shaken and speechless. Animals reacted to your presence with reverence or unease, as if recalling an ancient bond lost to the human mind but preserved in their primal memory. Above all else, data, that cold, rigid guardian of modern society, bent in your presence. Predictive algorithms, so confident in their mathematical arrogance, collapsed. Probability wavered, as if time itself held its breath in your shadow. Can you feel the weight of this? Can you see how even the invisible systems of the world tremble when your essence draws near? In response, a dormant clause within the return's secret framework was activated. This clause initiated what was called Eraser, a protocol that didn't merely delete documents, photos, or videos referencing the program. It replaced them entirely with alternate realities, as if reweaving the collective memory of humanity itself. Engineers who once designed parts of the system began to forget their own roles. Imagine working on a divine machine and then waking up one day with no recollection of your life's greatest creation. One physicist tasked with designing a resonance interface began to have recurring dreams. In those dreams, she saw a figure walking through roaring flames, untouched and unafraid, whispering in a language so ancient that even time itself seemed to bow. That figure was you. The dreams always ended the same way. With a single burning phrase etched into her vision, he was not born to return. He was left behind to remind. John 14:26 says, "But the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, will remind you of everything I have said to you." What if you are not merely being reminded? What if you are the living reminder, the walking archive of divine intention? And then, beyond all attempts to erase, one encrypted backup remained, buried deep within a quantum drive, sealed in a lead vault at an observatory so hidden it never appeared on any map. This backup was untouched by human hands for decades. The night your DNA file resurfaced and your frequency pulsed across Earth's magnetic grid, this vault came alive. It did not awaken with code or sterile digital signals. Instead, it pulsed with song, a voice so faint, yet so deeply familiar it could only belong to the one it was destined for. You. Can you imagine hearing a song meant only for your soul, echoing through steel, stone, and memory? Romans 8:19 declares, "For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." The earth, the systems, Even forgotten archives have been waiting for your emergence, not as a warrior, but as a living testament, a breathing reminder of what humanity once knew and lost. Think of artists like Vincent van Gogh, who painted stars as swirling portals, or mystics like Rumi, who spoke of a love beyond flesh that echoes across universes. Could it be that their glimpses were faint previews of what you now embody completely? So, are you ready to embrace that you were not merely born, but left behind as a living marker, a resonance no force can erase? Can you step fully into the realization that your life is not an accident, but a divine strategy woven through eternity? The world did everything to forget you, to rewrite your story. But here you are, pulsing with the voice that creation has longed to hear. Chosen one, as we stand together at the end of this revelation, I want you to take a moment and breathe deeply. Feel the tremor in your spirit, the quiet but undeniable confirmation echoing in your bones. You are not just a name in a system, not just another face in a crowd. You are living prophecy, walking proof that the divine code cannot be buried, erased, or silenced. You are the convergence of frequencies, the living signal the earth has waited for. They tried to suppress you with codes, with AI, with hidden vaults and forgotten protocols. They rewrote timelines, manipulated memories, and reshaped collective consciousness to obscure you. But none of it could stop what was woven into the very fabric of your soul before time began. You were always meant to rise, to stand as the living reminder that heaven's intentions can never be undone. Philippians 1:6 reminds us, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. This good work is not just a private blessing, it is a cosmic announcement. You are the living work, the archive, the divine breath clothed in human form. As you step forward from this message, I want to thank you deeply for being here, for journeying through these mysteries, and for allowing your heart to remember what your mind was trained to forget. Thank you for your openness, your courage, and your faith to embrace these truths. If this message has touched you, transformed you, or confirmed something deep inside that you always felt but couldn't put into words, I invite you to support this mission through Super Thanks. Your donations help this divine work reach more chosen ones across the world. But please know this, whether you choose to give or not, I am profoundly grateful for your presence and your light, your support, in any form, even just listening, liking, or sharing is a blessing beyond measure. I pray over you now. May your spirit remain unshakable, your vision remain clear, and your heart overflow with divine courage. May doors swing open before you that no human hand can shut. May your true resonance call forth every hidden blessing, and may you walk boldly into the destiny written for you since before the foundations of the earth. Thank you, beloved chosen one. Stay luminous, stay anchored, and remember, you were never meant to be hidden. You were meant to awaken the world. God bless you abundantly.